it gives me the greatest pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who you already heard on an excellent panel discussion, Grace DeSimone. Uh, Grace DeSimone has over 40 years of experience in the health and wellness industry. And even more importantly for us, she has been an active member of the Greater New York chapter for probably that same period of time. And we thank her for that.
Thank you.
Most recently, Grace served as a National Group Fitness Director for Optum's WellPlace Wellbeing, where she and her team managed over 2,000 weekly group classes for companies across the U.S. Grace is an author and editor for the American College of Sports Medicine's Research Manual for Group Exercise Instructors. She served as a member of the Committee on Certification and Registry Board and was the chair of ACSM's Certified Group Exercise Instructor Committee. Grace is an associate editor for ACSM's Health Fitness Journal and was the 2016 IDEA Health and Fitness Association's Program Director of the Year. Grace is certified as a mental health first aid instructor by the National Council of Mental Well-Being. She holds a bachelor's degree in dance from Hunter College and is certified by the American College of Sports Medicine as a group exercise instructor, personal trainer, and she is a great baker. In addition to that, Grace, it is a pleasure. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Caselli. Dr. Caselli has bailed me out of more personal emergencies. He is a doctor of podiatry, and my mother has terrible, terrible feet. And I have talked to him many, many times over the phone. He's always been spot on. And one day, out of sheer exasperation, he said, just bring your mother to me. And I always remember that. He fixed my mother's foot with a small piece of foam. And there she is. And she's still with us today at 95 years old. So thank you, Dr. Caselli. So I'm not going to lecture in case that's what you were hoping for. But what I am going to do, we are here talking about exercise. I'm going to ask you all to stand up because I've been standing in the back of the room watching you sit, and it's painful. So let's stand up. That feels better, right? While you're standing up, I'm going to figure out how this works. Oh, look, this is how it works. So you already heard about me. Good, that's over. Now, we're here to talk about you. But before we talk about you, let's stretch, shall we? So let's roll your shoulders around. You've all been sitting. It's terrible. Roll your shoulders. That's good. Doesn't that feel better? Yeah. Place your hands on your imaginary back pockets. Throw your belly out. Look up to the sky. Open your mouth and say, ah. And now come on up. And if you don't want to let all your germs out, then just pretend. Lean back. And, oh, that's good. Good. Keep doing that. That's nice. Go ahead. And what are you doing, exercise professionals? What are you stretching? Why? Yes. You're stretching your hip flexors because you've been sitting. Okay, go like this. Put one foot like this, one foot like this. So you're standing astride, but not doing the tightrope. Good. Bend your knees. Put your arms up. Watch your buddies. Move away from each other. Swing your arms like you're running. You're running. You're running. You're either running towards something or away from something. Those are your choices. When I say go, you're going to pump your arms as fast as you can. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? On your mark. Get set. Go, 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 go. Keep going, 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 and stop. Shake your arms out. You feel better? A little bit. All right, now, take a moment. What did it take for you to get here today? Did it take a lot? You had to get up early. You had to get dressed and clothes. Show up. So take a moment and congratulate yourself for showing up. And I want you to give yourself a well-deserved round of applause. And I call this cheering for you because the most important thing is you showed up. This is a life lesson. what is the most important thing in so many things in life? Show up. And you showed up. So congratulations, thank you. You are welcome to stand if you'd like to stay standing, or go ahead and have a seat. You are here at American College of Sports Medicine, Greater New York Regional Chapter. That's pretty fancy. Yeah? So, and for the people who are streaming, I am also asking you this question. Why are you here? Why did you show up? So I'd like to know how many are students. Raise your hands. Most of you, I assume exercise science, yeah, yes. Who's not a student? And you are? Researcher? Clinical physiology. Thank you. Teacher? Certified exercise. Okay, so we've got students and teachers in the room. How convenient. That's awesome. And what about the people at home? Is Heather here? I'd love to know, people who are streaming, what they have to say. But you are all students of exercise science, and with that, I'm assuming you have a career path in mind. Yes? Do you all know? It's okay that you don't. You don't have to. And you can always change your mind, you know. People do that. But I'm just curious, where are you heading with your exercise science background? You can just shout it out. It's okay. This is informal. Okay, not undecided, but you're between physical education and sports rehabilitation. Awesome. That's good that you don't know yet. And you know what I'm going to say to you, what I say to my daughter? Intern. Go try the job out. Try it on, see if you like it. Anyone else want to share? Do you know? So what I'm going to talk to you about is American College of Sports Medicine and certifications. Does anyone, other than the people who are the teachers and the certified of the student body, how many of you are certified already? Okay. So may I suggest, while you're in student and learning mode, get yourself certified before all those brain cells shut off, because it makes it harder then. So think about that, and I'm going to go through the different certifications. So we're going to talk about ACSM. What's your job outlook look like for the different professions? We're going to talk about your professional growth, how to prepare for an exam if you choose to take one, what's the format, and why ACSM. So we are 50,000 people strong. We represent over 70 occupations within sports medicine, and that includes doctors, nurses, PAs, PTs, OTs, nurses, right? Certified trainers, certified group exercise instructors. So many of us are here and dedicated to helping people live longer, healthier lives. And when asked, most people in this industry say, why did I get into this industry? Why are you interested? Thank you. It's always the same answer. I want to help people. Here's a video for your enjoyment.
Nobody said it would be easy. Nobody said the sun had to rise before you sweated through the day's first workout. Nobody said the world had to quiet down so you could squeeze in another study session. Nobody said you wouldn't have to stretch, scrape or struggle, cram, compete, or bust your tail trying. Well, you're not a nobody. You're somebody who aims a little higher. Somebody who isn't satisfied with good enough. Somebody we want on our team. Somebody who doesn't just want to change the game, but change the world. Somebody who makes others better. Somebody who is dedicated to improving lives one at a time. So are you ready to work hard? Are you ready to be a better version of yourself? Go for the goal. ACSM is for you.
And there you have it. many of you speak more than one language? Is that helpful in communicating with the world? I have 2 certifications, one in personal training, one in group exercise instruction, and that makes me speak 2 languages. Now I've become a virtual trainer and group exercise instructor. Now I can teach in 3 languages. So as you think about your area of expertise or the area that you want to specialize in, consider getting more than one certification. And the reason for that is because it will make you an employable powerhouse. People who can do more than one thing. It's great to specialize, and that's a wonderful thing. But if you specialize, you're looking for jobs here. If you have more than one area of focus, you're very employable, and you will be very diverse. So think about that as you think about these buckets that we're going to talk about for the different certifications. ACSM is a widely recognized certifier of fitness professionals, and ACSM is the source of truth. So when you go to any other environment, you go to any of the other certifications and you study and they give you, these are the guidelines or these are the standards, they come from here. So it's always nice to be part of the source of truth. So let's look at them and think about these. There's a slide later in the deck, but I didn't have time to shuffle them around. Think about these as the people that you're working with go from healthy to unhealthy. Okay, so you as a group exercise instructor, that's me, are working with healthy individuals. All you need is a high school diploma. So if you're all in college, I assume that you all have a high school diploma and you need CPR AED training and you qualify to take this certification. 3% of our certified professionals are GEI, Group Exercise Instructor Certified, because that is the newest of the certifications. The second edition of the resource manual, I'm the editor of the first edition, is coming out in June. And this would be a second language for you to teach if you have any interest in training or delivering information to more than one person at a time. So think about that. Do any of you participate in group activities, like you go to a boutique fitness, F45, cycle bar, spinning class? No? What do you all do? Oh, that's impressive. Well done. In the rain or the almost rain. What do you all do for activity? I'm just curious. Awesome. Hey, it's better. Did you see the video before about the people on the escalator? Yes. Yes. You do what? I dance. You dance. I dance too. I love that. I did dance. Dance served me very well in my career. So, but nobody does anything in a group? No? Boutique? Oh, there you go. That's a running group. So the reason I asked this question is because, and we'll talk about it later, but this has been a boom. Pre-pandemic, there was a boutique popping up next to every Starbucks on every block. During the pandemic, a lot of those boutiques closed, but the boutique model is here to stay, and it's a place where the personal trainer teaches in group. So that's why those of you who are thinking about training or personal training, even if you're thinking about clinical work, having a personal training certificate as a side hustle is not a bad idea. So think about that. Next, we have certified personal trainer. Any certified personal trainers in the room? Thank you. Anybody thinking about becoming a certified personal trainer? Okay, and you're also going to think about doing group so that you can do one-on-one and one-to-many, right? That gives you double skills. Same requirements, you need a diploma and CPR, AED. You're working with healthy individuals in a one-on-one setting and helping them achieve their goals. Then we go to certified exercise physiologists. Any certified exercise physiologists in the room? There we go. Thank you very much. Anybody wish to be a certified exercise physiologist? Awesome. So now you are in a person that's working with someone who has some conditions, but they are stable conditions. And this requires a bachelor's in an exercise science related discipline plus CPR AED. Now we have certified clinical exercise physiologists. Anyone in the room? Thank you very much. Anyone interested in? Okay, so in this setting, what's the diff? This is clinical. The others are not. And in this setting, you need a bachelor's in an exercise science discipline plus 1,200 practicum hours, master's in ex-phys plus 600 hours. You need basic life support, one notch up from CPR, and you are working with people who have conditions that are not stable and also have other health complexities. So very often you're in a clinical environment, a hospital environment, typically, sometimes in a wellness environment. Let's look at the job outlook. If you want to be a fitness trainer or instructor based on the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics in 2020, they see a growth, 39% growth. Now, median pay across the country is $40,000 annually. I will tell you, because I have been doing this my entire career, and most everyone, including myself, has a side hustle. So you work full-time, you might work full-time as a trainer in a facility, corporate wellness, whatever it is, you're doing some full-time work, but on the side you might be having your own basket of clients. So, and we do that with a lot of our trainers. We, in fact, where I work, we do what we call a 30-10 model, where we do 30 hours of full-time, where you might be minding people on the fitness floor, you're not training the whole time, but you have 10 extra hours where you can train, and that bumps up your income by quite a bit. So you're training on the clock, but you don't go into overtime. So your employer, like we do, might be creative with that. So what are your career paths if you're a personal trainer? You start out training, right? You're training, you're minding people on the floor. When we say that, you know, you're all in a typical gym environment, and you'll be hired to walk the floor, meet people, make sure people aren't hurting themselves, give them tips and advice, take people through orientations, and then eventually through that process, you're meeting and greeting people, and you are gaining your own book of business. What is the fastest way to create your own book of business in a health club setting or in a corporate wellness setting? Speak 2 languages, teach group fitness. Why? Because group fitness sees more people in 1 hour than any of the other fitness professions, and all of our trainers who have a book of business that is booked solid teach classes. Makes sense, right? Because now you're like a walking advertisement for yourself. Hey, if you had a good time in my circuit class, you can see me for training. Or people go, wow, I really like that. Oh, well, you know what? I train, and boom, there goes your book of business. So you can also be in some environments, like Equinox has this model, several of the other commercial environments have a model where you start out as an entry-level trainer, and then you advance your credentials. You have a degree or you have an advanced credential and additional experience, and then they will bump up your salary. After that, what do? Right? I'm a trainer, and we have this all the time. I've been training, I've been doing this for many years, and it's physically labor intensive, right? You're dealing with people, I see people roll one after the other, after the other, after the other, you know, client after client. That gets to be tiring mentally and physically. So what's the next step in the career path? You can be a manager, and maybe you manage the other trainers. That might not be for everybody, but it is a path. And then from there, depending on the organization, you could be a regional manager. I was a national manager. So I did, you know, I kind of worked my way up to, that was my career path, but I did it for group fitness. So 13% growth if you are interested in being in exercise physiology, says the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Median pay is $50K per year. And these jobs are on the rise. Why? What we talked about earlier, what happened in the past 2 years. People need your help. People need us. People need you. They will continue to need you. as we move forward, despite what has happened. And everybody's staying home. The pandemic's not going to last forever. We're going to find ourselves in a renewed state, and this is a wonderful and perfect time for us. When during the pandemic, I kept saying this is our time because people need us. So if you're an exercise physiologist, maybe you start with an internship. And maybe you start with an internship before you get your degree to find out if you even like it. Then you can move to be a clinical exercise physiologist, and maybe similarly, you go on to be a director. So you see how you're coming in entry, you're test driving, then maybe you're moving on, you're adding more certifications, you're building up your credential, and then if you choose, you move on to management. So here's some of our professionals. We have Stanton, who's a personal training manager at Equinox, and he loves that he can blend a science-based approach and leadership experience. And then we have Mallory Rice, and she's a senior clinical exercise physiologist at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. And these are all people who are involved in ACSM, which I strongly recommend. If you're interested, by the time you leave today, you go on your phone and join all the students for $10. Get yourself involved. I will tell you that ACSM will take care of you, but you have to make that first step. Be involved in the college, and if you like volunteering, raise your hand and offer to volunteer. I volunteered for things I had no business doing, but in doing those things, I found my place. They always called me feet on the street because I don't have a clinical background, but I have plenty of practical experience. So when I served on committees and everybody else, I literally had to have a translator. I had a woman in my ear whispering what all the acronyms meant. I'm like, what's that? What's this? But by the end of a year to 2 years, I was fluent in all of the acronyms. But when they needed something practical, they would go, hey, Grace, does this really happen? And I would be able to say yes or no. As we were developing exams, this stuff doesn't happen. Like, these exams aren't practical. So find yourself a place. If you like this or any other organization, raise your hand, say, I want to be involved, and it will serve you. So what's driving demand? You've been here all day talking about technology. What's going to happen in the future? Is technology going to take over? Hope not. It's going to be a tool, just like the thing I'm holding in my hand, right? It's going to be a tool that will enhance your ability, our ability to serve the community. That is all. The other thing that's a driver is what we talked about before, boutiques, and the opportunity that people have to be in a community. That's what people like doing. They like being with other people who like doing what they're doing, who like talking about the same things. That's what communities are. Think about any community. Think about a church. That's a community. You think about a book club. That's a community that's all gathered around something that everybody likes to do. So you did a running club. That's what everybody liked to do, and that's your posse. That's your squad. And this is driving fitness. You might not see it where you are, but it is definitely happening, which is why the ability to lead in a community setting and to be able to lead many will keep you diverse. Do you think that personal training is dead? No. I only saw one head shake. No. Okay, that's 2 heads. So I hope not. It's not, I can assure you, but it is evolving to one-on-one in person. We talked about virtual and the capability that you can go with your client on vacation. Like in the years past, if you trained, a really elite population and people who had lots of money, they would take you with them. I was just talking to a friend of mine who trained someone who is a CEO at a well-known banking establishment, and he took her in his private jet to do yoga with him, and she went on all of these fabulous trips in these fabulous places. And amazing, right? And I was like, I had no idea. She was like, yeah, my 20s, I will never have the experience to do that again. I will never be on a private jet, in my life. But that's what people did. And I know many trainers who had those amazing experiences with that once in a lifetime client. We don't have to do that because you can go with your client in their pocket on their phone, right? Because of the digital age. So it enhances your ability not only to reach more people, but hang on to the people that you have. It used to be like, oh, I'm moving, I'm never going to see you again. You can see me on Zoom. You can see me next week, right? So think about what we're doing now is just expanding the footprint that we can work in. Yeah? All right, so let's talk about taking an exam. Is anyone here like a really good exam taker? No, you are. Okay, that's good. I only saw one head nodding and you're a good exam taker. Okay, so what makes you a good exam taker? What do you do that's good? What's your strategy? You study right before. That means you must have an amazing memory. She does. What do you do? Oh, you're not. No, behind you. Oh, know the people that's testing you. Well, that's ACSM. So that's an organization, but that's actually, that's very wise. So here are the things that we can recommend for you. In all of the, we're using exercise physiology as physiologists as an example. There are 4 domains. And in those domains, they will give you what the percentage of material is on each of these things. So, good test takers, how much time are you going to spend studying risk management? Not a lot. Yes, go ahead. Teachers in the back. 5 minutes. Yeah, 5. You're going to spend 5% of your time. So when you get your materials, the first place I want you to go is to this information. The domains will give you the breakdown, and that's how you strategize for how you're going to spend time. Because and we'll tell you what a lot of people do as we move on. So the exams are set up for recall, application, and synthesis. Recall is simply remembering facts. Application is your ability to interpret or summarize information. And then synthesis is, it's like a case study. You're taking information and you're applying it. So here we go. Here's recall. The emergency procedures and equipment available described in which one of these following documents? Where are the emergency procedures and equipment available described? Do you think it's A, B, C, or D? Who thinks it's A? Okay. Who thinks it's B? Who thinks it's C? Who thinks it's D? Wow, we kind of got a split, and they didn't give me the answer, so I don't know. But we think it's A. Informed consent is telling you, you might die doing this activity, that you are running on a treadmill, and if you fall off, you're signing here at your own risk. So the answer is indeed A. Now we're applying. There it is. Every group exercise class has one of these in it in my world. So a client is performing a body weight squat exercise as shown. Which of the following is the most important to recommend? Oh, what happened? Yeah, that was so painful to watch that. The computer shut off. So I don't know what happened. Is it? Oh, you're right. I see it. Hang on. Oh, that is Garrett's. Where's mine?
I think you have to reopen it again. Get on the.
Oh, I see it. There we go. All right, hang on, Babaloos. So, what is that, by the way? Anybody know? There she is, our girl. Okay, thank you. What's she doing? Anybody? Where's the kinesiology people? Thank you. What's it called? Knee valgus, thank you. What does she need? Yeah, I kid you not, in most of my exercise classes, they show up and I call them wonky knees. I'm like, all the people with wonky knees. All right, so that's an example of application. And then synthesis, we're not going to go through this, but this is where they give you a 53-year-old man, blah, blah, blah. So those are examples of what's in the exam. So what are the 3 biggest mistakes when taking an exam? You try and memorize everything rather than how the concepts fit together. You ever do this, right? You memorized it, but you really don't know what it means or how to use it, but you spent all your time memorizing the words. I've done this many, many, many times. You focus on areas of interest rather than the areas that need the greatest improvement. So you love kinesiology and you spent all of your time in all of the kinesiology, you know all of the joints, all of their functions. They're only going to ask you 5 on the exam and they're all going to be basic. So now you spent all your time on that and you didn't spend time in the other domains. And this is probably for anyone who has any experience doing anything, you make an assumption about what's described, like the gal that we saw in the video. Oh, maybe she has this or that, instead of only looking at what's on the question and assume everyone is perfect unless you're told otherwise. And I always remember the first, I probably let 3 or 4 of my certifications lapse, much to my disappointment as I look back, like that's a thing not to do. But every time I had a child, I was like, I don't know where those things are. I don't want to recertify. It's a pain. And so I wound up taking tests to recertify during the course of my career, but I already had a lot of experience. And I remember after the test saying, well, I don't understand, why I got this one wrong. It's because you have too much experience. And I'm analyzing the behavior of the person. Oh, well, it's her first time and she would like to sit on an exercise ball, but that's not what you do with somebody who's there for the first time. You have them stand on 2 feet. You don't worry about all these other things. So I remember talking to somebody who wrote the exam questions, and that's what he said to me. Do not think about your experience and apply it. You stay in the book. When you are certified, after you receive your certification, it will render you minimally proficient. That's all you get. That's all it is. Everybody runs around, I'm certified. That's awesome. But it only renders you minimally proficient because you need additional experience to go along with that. That's where the rest falls into place. So if you think about that, what would make me minimally proficient as I'm answering this question? You're going to go back to the basics. So how do you prepare? Number 1, commit, right? Commit to get fit, commit. If you think about it, I might do it. Maybe I'll do it in the summer when I have off. And what most people do is they buy the materials, open the materials, close the materials, and decide they're going to do it later because it's so daunting. You look through it and go, oh my gosh. And anybody who doesn't have health science background, the first 2 chapters are always anatomy and physiology. When I did the book, I put anatomy and physiology in the back, and people said, why? And I was like, because I watch people open it and go, oh. The first thing they see is the skeleton, they close the book and walk away. But if you commit to what your exam date is, you go on, you commit to, this is the date I'm going to take it, you're in. Now you're committed, you have skin in the game, you put your money down, and now you just walk the timeline. So there are many resources that are available. There are study groups on Facebook. ACSM has many, many resources available that you can use to assist you in studying. And I'm telling you, you are already in student and study mode, so this is going to be easy peasy for all of you. You have 2 options. One, you can go to a testing center. Has anybody been to a testing center? Yeah, so you go in to a center. They have computer stalls set up. They strip you of all of your electronics and textbooks. You put your backpack in a special place. They give you a bottle of water. You have an online place to scribe, and you're off to take the exam. What is the benefit there? Well, first of all, you're not home. You know, the cat's not going to come and sit on your keyboard. You're not going to be distracted. Amazon's coming to your door, and whatever else could happen during the course of the day. But if you have test anxiety and you need breaks, or you need breaks for anything else, like you need to get up, you need to walk around, you need to pee every half hour, whatever it is, they will accommodate that in a testing environment. What are the cons? You have to go when it's available. There's a distance that may be probably not here in New York Metro. You have everything available. You don't have to drive to Timbuktu to get to a testing center. And it may be unfamiliar. That may be a distraction for you. I personally like to be in like a stripped environment, you know, I'm focused, and you may have limited seating available. We won't be standing taking an excess. Or you can do it online from the comfort of your home, 24/7. However, you're in for it. You're sitting, you're not getting up. They have a proctor that watches your eye movement. So if they see, you know, if you thought you're beating the system and you like printed all the notes and they're up on your wall, if they see you looking and they watch your eyes, they're going to ask you to scan the room with your camera. You're not going to be able to take a bathroom break because, you know, maybe you've got the textbook open to metabolic equations in there. So that's where that is that's a con, but also you might be more comfortable being on your personal device. So those are your choices. And now we have this young man who says, so you're telling me I need experience to get experience. You've got your certification, you have your degree, awesome. Now what do I do? Yeah, we're telling you need experience to get experience, right? He goes out all bright and shiny for his job, and what happens? He comes home, but that's part of why, and I'm telling you, intern, make connections, use the network, use the college, meet people while you're here. This is the slide I was telling you about when you look at here your client risk and then you look at all the certifications. The higher the level of experience and expertise needed, the greater the risk on the client is. So if the client is unhealthy, unstable with, you know, several comorbidities, then you're going to need that clinical experience. These are some of our partners. Exos is another corporate wellness and athletic performance specialist. We also partner with Equinox, Well Coaches, Functional Movement Screen, and USA Lifting. And that's what John Wooden says. Flexibility is the key to stability, which I can tell you in my career, I had no business doing a lot of things that I did, but somebody said, hey, Grace, do you want to blank? And I was like, okay, I'll try. And here I am. 5 of the organizations that I worked for either closed or were sold or acquired in the course of my career. I've been at my current place of employment 22 years. I came in as an acquisition and they were acquired. So we were twice acquired for the same job in 22 years, but you stay with it, right? You keep yourself flexible, keep your options open, be diverse, and have lots of skills available. And if you're doing what you love, it's not going to matter because you're really enjoying. I love what I do. I have lots of things I love doing. I have many, many things that I do in a day. I'm sure all of you, we're all running around doing lots of things. And you maintaining your flexibility will keep you stable, as you know. So I believe, well, let's talk about ACSM. We talked about ACSM. And I encourage you, look at that, $10 a year, that's worth it. So once you're in, then you stay in, you're going to get access to the things that members have access to, and they may be things that are very helpful to you in your student career and your professional career. And then there are the ACSM Summit that happens once a year. That really is for health fitness professionals. If you've never been to a conference, make that part of your career journey because you'll see things. I remember my first conference, I sat there and I was so enamored with the whole idea. I understood maybe 25% of what was being said, but it encouraged me to want to know more and learn more. And You know, even though I didn't understand everything, like it kind of washes over you and you're like, oh, let me find out a little bit more about that. And then there's the ACSM annual meeting. San Diego's not a bad place to be. And these are all things. What happens to the person who wins the student bowl? Do they get to go here? Oh yeah. So there you go. Somebody maybe going there. Who are we rooting for? So that takes me to the end of my presentation. I welcome any questions that you all have. Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
Let me just get the mic.
I'm trying to decide the EP versus CEP so I could start exercise for type 1 diabetes as a billable service. The CEP is, I understand, is inaccessible to me because my PhD program doesn't have the classes and the required domains. Can I make the case that type 1 diabetes is a stable condition if you control it right?
Now,
And
you want it to be billable?
that's the goal.
That's, I would say you need clinical, no? Yes, there's your answer.
So I have to go back to school and get.
It's still not billable, but I know that we have a whole advocacy group working on this particular issue, and the clinical exercise physiologist, they're looking at the qualified professional that will qualify to do all that.
So I mean, the issue I looked at my PhD doesn't, like, the classes and the curriculum didn't match what was on the. So do I have any option in that? Okay, I mean, being a published author in a lot of this area, but not.
Nay, I mean, what you should do is contact ACSM. Oh, I didn't do it. Hang on. You ready? Hang on. There. That's who you want to go to. Francis, who is the Director of Certification for ACSM. Thank you. Because I forgot to, this person, if you're going to go and tweet with anybody, go and tweet with him. Check him out on LinkedIn. There's his email. I'm representing Francis. Yes.
Kelly, can I get you down, Mike?
No? Okay. So in 2027, if I'm not mistaken, in order to be able to take the exercise physiologist certification, you need to come from an accredited program. An accredited program, it can be undergrad or graduate degree. I think it's, and there are domains and competencies that the program needs to meet, and there are standards. So, and then I understand that you're asking for your students, right?
I'm asking for myself. I mean,
So yourself, okay, you just go and study now and just do it.
2027, you said?
Be an accredited. I thought that you're teaching and you're having a program that you would like that your students to take it.
sorry, I'm not. So
No, I'm just sorry. It's me not understanding. What I'm trying to say that if we have here faculty people, right, that have programs and they have students that they want them to take the certification, few years from now, 5 years from now, those programs need to be accredited. Now anyone can take it.
So which programs will be accredited 1 year?
Exercise science program, undergraduate or graduate programs. So, and then if you're coming from an accredited program, those students will have a voucher, right? They get a voucher and they pay less if they're a member now of the ACSM or they're coming from an accredited program. For you, if you're an ACSM member, you just can take it. Doesn't.
I just keep.
I think it's two separate
Yeah.
questions.
Things. I think I misunderstood him because I thought that he has students that he wants them to be certified.
Asking about the reimbursement process, getting a CPT code and all those things. There's a work group now
Mm-hmm.
at ACSM.
Okay.
Working on this process. And the latest information that I've seen a week ago, is they're taking the RDN, Registered dietitian, nutritionist, who already has a model, qualified professional, healthcare professional, licensed or registered, and they're like 8 different qualifications, and they're trying to do the same thing with the clinical exercise physiologist. So that's where we're starting. And so far, of the qualifying variables, there are only 2 that are currently part of the CEP model.
Thank you.
There are only 2 versus the other 6 that, you know, they're going to have to get in order to have a parallel profession that now the Medicare and whoever else might provide a CPT code or some other type of billing code that can be used going forward every time you serve a patient. In your capacity as a clinical exercise physiologist, same as a registered dietitian nutritionist would on the nutrition side. So, and for someone specializing in the area of diabetes, you know, both make sense. It's pretty logical that you would go down the same path. So it's a whole different thing than the academic curriculums that will need to be accredited in order to sit for the exam going forward. So
Right. I mean,
that's where it sits now.
my issue is being like having a PhD from a program that didn't meet those requirements and not looking to go get another master's or PhD at my,
To sit for the exam.
Right.
right, but if I don't sit for the exam, then I
Right.
can't.
Right. You need to. Right now, that's where it sits. So if you can sit for the exam and pass it and become a clinical exercise physiologist, there are still other hoops that you're going to have to jump through. Once it's actually created in the marketplace at Medicare, at, you know, whoever the powers that be are, state by state as well as federal, in order to fall in that category where your services are billable.
Yeah.
So we're heading in the right direction, but I think it's going to be a long haul.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you.
Other questions? Is everybody happy? Because you get a break. It's 3:18. So Francis is happy. Francis is delightful, and he is the director of certification. So if you have questions, go to him. But you can take a break now. So if you want to get out of your chairs and run around and be back for the student bowl, it starts at 3:30. So with that, I thank you very much. Enjoy the student bowl, and it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.